Hello, friends, and welcome to
Weezer Review.
the show where we review Weezer, in case you didn't know that already. And today, we got a real jam going on today.
Yep, we got some really good rockin' albums with Weezer's fourth studio album named Maladroit. Now, Maladroit came out of May 14th of 2002. This is, once again, another 2000s Weezer. It's not quite 2000 mid-Weezer. That'll be up next.
Oh boy.
Ooh boy. However, Maladroit, I gotta say, is probably one of my favorite albums, just because of how good and fun it is to listen to, and easy it is to listen to, especially me coming from a background of like classic rock and rock music. So, what are your thoughts first? First and foremost, what's your premonition?
Premonition of this? I'd say it's pretty dang good.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to, because since Green and Maladroit get roped together, if I had to choose between the two, it's a hard decision because they're very similar in the fact that they're really just there to have a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just there to rock it out.
Very understandable. Not a ton of meaning behind all the stuff. More closer to Buddy Holly level of meanings behind things, but a lot of stuff that's fun and good to listen to.
Right.
So, the first track on Maladroit overall is American Gigolo. Now, when you first hear this song, it does set the tone for Maladroit heavily, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it sets up the hard rocking rhythms and the nice, really almost punk rock level of guitar riffs, where Maladroit is just heavily full of guitar riffs and things like that, and I very much enjoy it for that.
Yeah.
Like I said, coming from an experience of classic rock and rock music, having a lot of nice guitar riffs with a lot of heavy bass hits and a lot of heavy, nice hitting beats, it helps keep the songs going and is just very enjoyable to listen to, I think.
Yeah. I would very much be in the same boat. That's just how they are. It's a very much mirrors Green and how Green set up with Don't Let Go, letting you know how the whole album's going to be. Maladroit does it same and does it very well. And I'd say comes out with a much stronger song than they did in Green.
Yeah.
Like, this song is very solid.
I have to agree with you on that. Now, I gotta say, there's not a lot to talk about with American Gigolo. It is just a nice tune-setting piece, I think.
Yes.
Nothing too deep, really. If you wanted to dig deeper, you could, but not gonna worry about that today, I don't think.
Nah.
Like I said, Maladroit and Green are very much not emotional built albums, but they are fun-loving rock albums from Weezer. They are Weezer albums filled of just Weezer songs for Weezer's sake, rather than Weezer song for River's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Which you gotta understand, and you gotta get with me. Blue and Pinkerton were full of Weezer song for River's sake because Rivers was the one writing them heavily. Now, the next song up on Maladroit is Dope Nose. Now, I gotta say, Dope Nose is a lot less punk rock than the rest of the songs on Maladroit. This is probably one of the softer ones. Secondary, I suppose. The second softest one.
Yeah.
But Dope Nose is an interesting song, is this dope nose rather than a dope nose. So, it's kind of referring to this guy, which is a dope, knows the answer.
Yeah.
Rather than how nose is spelled in the song itself. Instead of N-O-S-E, it's K-N-O-W. Which I'm sure everyone understands that. But and it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have a punker rock feel to it. It's just more of a classic Weezer fun song.
Yeah.
Or it's like a Weezer goofy song, kind of like Crab. It has almost the same feeling of that. And I kind of think it's funny how you have Dope Nose on Maladroit, and then you have like something like Hash Pipe on Green, where I think they would almost fit better. They would almost fit better if you switched their places, their albums.
You know, they say this happened after Rivers went on a bit of a drug binge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he just was a bit out of his mind at the moment. He's like, let's just prank him and switch him around.
Well, I'm sure that dope knows about it.
In all honesty, though, you can't imagine it any other way.
Yeah, I gotta say, it fits, not for the reason of it matching everything, but it fits because it doesn't match. It fits because it makes a little bit of a stark turn, but you know that you're still on the same path, kind of thing. What do you think of Dope Nose? Like, do you like the music to it?
It's enjoyable throughout most of the song, except it goes into a bit of a holiday thing.
Yeah, it gets
where it goes,
repetitive.
Oh, oh. And it's just not really that I like it because it breaks up what was pretty good. It builds up to the chorus really well, and then the chorus lets you down, and back to the verse, but then before the verse can hit you, they go like,
Yeah. You get some Flintstones intro.
Yeah, when you meet the... Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like it ruins it, though.
It doesn't.
It's fun to listen to, so you can't let things like that get you down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though I think Dope Nose is a little repetitive, where you have the lyrics being a bit repetitive about this dope nose, and then you have the music being repetitive, it's not bad because of that.
Right.
It's a fun song for fun's sake. It's just a goofy Weezer song, I think.
And just real quick, on the subject of Holiday, I'm here to officially issue an apology to Holiday.
Uh-oh.
Because I listened to it a couple more times, and I realized it is still a banger, even though it can be a little annoying.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your little cousin who is fun, but he's also kind of annoying because he is a child.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were going to say it's like your brother. Your brother, you want to hang out with him. However, he's going to get mad if you don't let him on the Xbox.
Exactly. So
And he's going to tell mom.
yes, he's gonna, exactly. I can see that being a good analogy.
Mm-hmm. You know the show's all about analogies.
Yeah, in case Green didn't have anything.
Yeah. Okay, so the next song I really enjoy from Maladroit, Keep Fishing, for one of two reasons. One, I first actually listened to the song not because of Maladroit itself. I listened to the song because the music video.
Right.
So the music video I personally find really funny and really enjoyable. It's the mashup between Weezer and the Muppets. And what's not to love about that?
I like how Muppets can literally be mashed up with anything.
They even made little shirts for the Muppets that had the Weezer shirt on it.
I know, it's great.
It's amazing. And so what I was gonna say is, Keep Fishing is, I would have to say, the softest song on Maladroit.
And that's saying something.
Yeah. Well, when you have Dope Nose is the second softest.
Exactly.
Keep Fishing is soft, but I say it's soft because it is more of a poppy song rather than more of a punker song.
Right.
It is a lot more pop, upbeat, fun, and you can easily get the message behind it. Like, don't worry about it. There's more people out there. Just
Plenty
keep
of
fishing.
fish in the sea.
Yeah,
exactly.
keep fishing. Yeah, you'll find the one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, I really love the song because it's very catchy, it's very fun, it's very upbeat because it's a pop song. Plus, it's very fun to watch the music video, and it's just an amazing thing to see Kermit in a Weezer shirt singing along to the song with Rivers. It's fun. It's amazing. 10 out of 10.
Justice for Pat.
Yeah.
Miss Piggy kidnapped him.
Yep. And then he turned himself into a lampshade.
Yes.
I think that's why there's a lampshade on Maladroit.
It's a reference.
Yeah, it's a reference to Keep Fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's your turn.
I think it's time to get back on the track that American Gigolo set us on.
Punk rock.
Yes, with Take Control. A song that pretty much starts out hard, punk, rockin', but still has softer and catchy choruses, which is a really big theme on Maladroit, with just keep changing it up from Green by getting hard into the rocks with them hash pipe type guitars, and it is very much enjoyable for that.
Yeah. Take Control, I find, is very fun as a punk song. Bum, bum, ba-na-na-na.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like I it almost sounds like a classic rock kind of style, like almost in the style of Blue Oyster Cult and Fleetwood Mac, in their more heavier songs kind of thing, or even in a way like Seven Nation Army, you know.
Yeah.
So it has its defined beat, and I love a defined beat in music. It is me being a percussionist. I love defined beats because it allows you to follow the music without actually following the melody, which is the primary. But you can follow both the melody or the bass, and it is an enjoyable act of doing, I think.
Yeah.
And Take Control has some interesting lyrics. You can tell that there's a story behind that.
Right.
Like dragging your name all over town, and I don't want to know back around here, no way, you know?
Like crap.
Yeah. Take Control, I think, is a very fun song in the punk rock style. It is very enjoyable to listen to, and it's very easy to listen to, even though it's a heavier punk song, you know? And I gotta say, it's a fun song to listen to. Again, fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, fun, fun. Green and Maladroit are fun, fun, fun songs.
Exactly.
Fun, fun, fun albums.
Just put up the fun counter. Don't do that. You will.
Put up a fun counter and
We'll break the fun counter.
edit in a fun counter. I'm telling you this now.
Just don't play a drinking game.
Yeah.
You will die.
Don't take a shot every time I say fun.
You will die.
Fun, fun, fun.
It doesn't
fun,
matter what you're drinking. You will die.
Fun, fun, fun.
You could be drinking water, and you will have too much water.
Water poisoning. Yeah.
Exactly.
Fun, 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 fun.
So next up, we're riding this weird roller coaster that Maladroit has put us on, kind of going up with American Gigolo, going down with Dope
Is it a
Nose
fun
and them.
fun roller coaster?
Of course, it's a fun roller coaster.
Yeah, fun.
It's got a lot of bumps and rides. Cause now we went up from Take Control and we're going down a bit into Death and Destruction.
Ooh.
Which for a
go
song,
down into death and destruction.
I know it's weird, but this song is very, very calm, with a nice ding, 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 ding. Just very soft guitar.
How
riff.
did that go? Boom, 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 boom.
I don't know if that's the same song.
No?
Just it's that and the way they lead into that with the kind of drum going like there is my favorite part, because a lot of times I like to drum along to the songs, and just having a lot of good drumming can really make a song sometimes, and that is why I love Death and Destruction.
Yeah, I gotta say, when it comes to the drums and the basses in a lot of the Weezer songs, Pat, I think, has done an amazing job. And certain ones he's done better than others, and Death and Destruction is, of course, one of the good ones, I think. Even I would go to say, like, Automatic, where Pat is singing, he does a good job, even though you have either a drum machine or you have Rivers on the drums. It's not as good as Pat, but it's still good.
Right.
But it's not Pat level good, you know?
You can't replace Pat.
Pat level good, he just shines in Maladroit, I think. Because Maladroit being a punk rock song, or a punk rock album, having punk rock songs in them, all full of heavy basses and nice hard-hitting drums, and combining that with some rockin' Weezer riffs grants you the ability to just jam out.
Right.
And Death and Destruction is no different. Death and Destruction is a good song. I gotta say, it's a fun song to listen to. If you aren't experienced in Weezer or Maladroit, you could get thrown off when Death and Destruction starts, a little bit. But if you made it to Death and Destruction, you've already heard Dope Nose and Keep Fishing, and then got hit with a frickin' Take Control. So
Exactly.
there's not much that can throw you off at this point.
I also like how Death and Destruction is able to keep the hard rock riffs while still being a really laid back song.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next one.
Yeah. So this one is very fun, I think. It's very, very fun because of the music and because of the lyrics. And you know I am a softie for lyrics and music, combining, making something delicious.
Yes.
So, and you know what happens when you eat too much stuff that's delicious? You get fat. And you know what happens when you get fat? And you stop cleaning up, and you stop taking care of yourself? You turn into a slob.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. As long as you don't bother people and you don't call them up and frickin' annoy them and say things like like River
it said in the
says,
song.
like the
Get
lyrics
yourself a
go.
wife. Get yourself a job. What's the point of bothering people
Yeah,
like that?
don't you be a slob.
Yeah.
But you know, if you take into the account this, how Rivers is saying it, it's almost like he's trying to pushing somebody in the right state of mind, or maybe he's getting pushed out of being a slob, you know?
It kind of sounds
Which
like that.
I could very much understand, because if you didn't know, later on, when Weezer makes certain songs, like in the White Album, when he makes "Do You Want to Get High," that is actually a reference to 2001 and 2002, where Rivers actually had a pill addiction, and it would almost kind of make sense. You see now,
Right.
hearing that now and hearing Maladroit back then, connecting the two, what Slob was about, it could very much, I think, be about Rivers being in that druggy state of being almost, or at least halfway, and having people push him out of that and clean up himself and clean up his life.
Right.
And you know, that's a message that needs to be spread more, I think.
I'd assume that's why the song would sound so emotional most of the time.
Yeah.
Especially when he's like, "Get yourself a wife," and all that. The drums are just kind of
Get yourself a job.
going at it, and
Yeah.
he kind of does it in a weird whining and crying
Yeah.
voice, like.
However, it's still the punk sound. It still
Yeah.
has the punk sound because of the hard riffs and the heavy guitars,
Hmm.
and then the heavier drums.
So it's a
Don't
fun
you
song
be a
with
slob.
just emotion to it, to add a bit of that human to it,
Mhm.
you know? Because
Yeah.
that's just how Weezer is. They get deep sometimes.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's Weezer.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And Slob, pretty good
claps.
song. 2 claps. 2 whole claps.
Woo! Woo!
Very,
Next.
very fun.
Next, you cook up a good jam, but you burnt it. What do you get? Burnt jam. It's not bad, though. It
It's
is
burnt.
fantastic. It is burnt. It is burnt, but it is crisp. Crisp song.
You know, as a chef, personally, I don't really like burnt things. But, you know, I could set this one aside and go for a burnt jam every
I'll
once in
eat
a while.
this burnt jam because, oh boy, do I love the riffs on this on the opener to this song, and
Yeah.
just how it sticks the whole time. Because it's another kind of Death and Destruction type song where it's calm riffs, and then they add a bit of that doom doom rock punk riffs that are really really good. And so like this is basically in the Death and Destruction Club. They're both in the same vein, working together and making some hard jams.
Making some hard burnt jam.
Making some burnt jams. This is the burnt jam trilogy.
Now, you know, when it comes to burnt jam, it's kind of funny for me. I almost forget about the lyrics. I would not be surprised if I were to listen to Burnt Jam again and then 20 minutes later try to look up the lyrics to Burnt Jam, but to find that there is none. Because I think Burnt Jam is a very good music song. It's
Exactly.
it's a music piece, and it enjoys itself for being that. And you know, I don't knock it for that.
Especially here. I love instrumentation, and especially when it's good.
Yes.
So I don't pay attention to the lyrics, so most of the time I forget the lyrics to Burnt Jam.
Not
but
only do they have a good composition and a good mix, but it's still nothing extreme. It's not Pat playing the drums with his forehead or with maracas, you know? It's not that level, but it doesn't need to be.
yeah.
It is very classic rock, but it's hard rock and almost.
It sounds like a jam. They sat down and they
it
went
is
for a
one-
jam session.
That is one good burnt jam, I gotta say.
Yeah, they jammed. Next up is the shortest song of Weezer up to this point where we're reviewing Space Rock. And I'm not sure that I'm right on this, but I'm gonna throw it out there because it kind of makes sense to me. That supposedly this song was meant to just be the music, just the instruments, and no vocals. But they added in the vocals in post. Well, not in post, but they added it later on.
Yeah.
They decided to change it up.
After the jam session was done,
Yeah.
they realized they wanted to go back and change something.
They wanted to add some spice, and I'd say the spice is very nice. And I could say I could go either way about it. Space rock's got some really good jams to it, some really good rock. But at the same time, I feel the soft vocals added into it, like the is actually makes it a little fun to listen, a little more fun to listen to.
Yeah. Now, I find something funny.
Yeah.
So, about this time of space rock is also about the same time where they had the B tracks on Homecoming, right?
Right.
Because Homecoming came out, it was supposed to, if it actually came out as a album, it was going to come after Maladroit and before Make Believe, or instead of Make Believe. Well, if you listen to Homecoming, one of the last songs in it is, of course, Queen of Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Queen of Earth, if I remember correctly, was used in Operation Space Opera for Songs from the Black Hole. And I almost feel like Space Rock was almost supposed to be a part of that, but then they added lyrics and then dumped it in the Maladroit.
That would make sense.
Especially, just the name alone makes sense, I think.
And with the guitars, it kind of sounds like rocket engines.
It does. It's a very interesting piece, I gotta say. It is a very melodic piece when it just comes to instruments just straight up.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you know what?
What?
You know what happens when you get people working for free?
No, what happened?
You get slaves.
Well, but what if they're volunteers?
Voluntary slave ship.
Yeah.
Now, I gotta say, Slave, good song. First thing out of the second, good song. I love Slave. Slave is an interesting piece, I gotta say. Slave is interesting in the fact that it doesn't have to hit hard to match up with the rest of the songs on Maladroit, because it makes up with the hitting hard with the very repetitive but not boring melody, where you have like, who put on your heart.
Right.
It almost, to me, it harkens back a little bit to the Beatles, and things like Can't Buy Me Love. I know that's going to be like the weirdest stretch, but it's almost like, Can't Buy Me Love, where it keeps repeating that same part, and it keeps bringing it back, but each time you hear it, it almost sounds different and new, even though it hasn't changed a bit. And I think Slave does the same thing. It brings back Who Put On Your Heart, and it keeps doing it, but I think at the point in time where the rest of the instruments are at, it almost makes it sound different, or after getting hit with a chorus, you get hit with the melody, and it almost is like a refresher, Mm-hmm. And it's fun. It's very fun.
Yeah. And in a way, I think it reminds me of no other one from Pinkerton, in that it rocks hard, but the vocals are very much different from that, in that they are slow and they are soft.
They are slow and methodical.
Exactly. And those kind of things are very nice to me. Because sometimes I like to just sit back and let a song just play while I'm kind of dozing or something, and that's just one of those kind of songs I feel like I can listen to.
It almost harkens back, I would say, to like El Scorcho or Across the Sea, where Across the Sea was very slow, but it was very, very good with its timings on between songs and when words are going to be hit and at what time you wanted certain instruments to be played.
Right.
It's very good in the timing, and being good with timing and instrumentation is just a good match, I gotta say.
Gents, it's time for our next one. Fall Together. This song, I think, has my favorite vocal part on Maladroit, with pretty much my favorite chorus of Daylight, Dreamlight. I probably didn't say that right. Fall together, baby, baby. That is a very catchy
holiday.
But yeah. I like good vocals because it's basically the bow on top of everything. Because most of the time when we talk about instruments, we talk about the rock and guitars, we talk about them drums, but you never realize how much of an instrument vocals can be, and really bringing it all into a very nice and solid package. Because sometimes songs can exist with no lyrics at all, and the vocals are just people going ooh, And that can be all right because because sometimes it's just the vocals.
Quartets.
Exactly.
Barbershop quartets.
And that's what's really good about this.
Barber Matt quartets.
That the vocals very much tie this into a very nice package.
But I would almost agree with your analogy, except for I got a little thing to say about it.
Okay.
Well, it almost feels like if you're using that, people always discard the bow first, right?
Right.
Where I kind of think of it like you have a cake, and you got your hard-hitting bases as the actual layers of the cake, right? And then your in-between layers of like frosting or a cream. That is like your roaring guitars. Not too much, but hits hard enough.
Right.
And then over the whole thing, you have a nice voice being either like the fondant or being the icing over on top of the cake. It's not the sprinkles. The sprinkles is Matt hitting his head on the drums, of course, or the maracas. However, I gotta say, the vocals are the icing on top of the cake.
Right.
It's something there that is noticeable, but it doesn't overpower it, and when it does, you can tell. But finding that level of just enough to balance with the rockin' guitars and the roaring drums, it finds a nice match, and then it just sandwiches together and makes something great.
Exactly. It's like all of the good toppings, the butter on the popcorn, the cherry on the ice cream. More analogies that I don't know about things being topped on other things.
The garlic in the sauce.
Yes, as a chef, Mark would know this one. It is certified.
I like garlic. Garlic's fun.
All right. Next up is Love Explosion. Now, a thing I'm going to have to let you gents know about the last couple songs of this album is that they are good, but not in a standout fashion. In that I like Love Explosion just as much as all the other ones, but when I think back on my highlights of Maladroit, it really wouldn't be a part of it, is all I'm trying to say. And that's really all I can say about it, as it is just like most of Maladroit with its hard-hitting drums, good basses, all of that goodness. It's just that it's not as standout as something like Burnt Jam, Slob, Death and Destruction, Space Rock. It's my favorites, pretty much.
Love Explosion, I like. I like for the music it has, and I like for the type of music style it takes. It feels like it kind of bridges a couple of gaps where you definitely have the punker rock feel, but it's not hard punk rock, and it's not like heavy rock. But it is definitely noticeable when it's trying to it's almost like adding in a bit of a spice of punk rock. And then for the most part, you have you have Weezer rock, which is like the alternative rock, as the main part of it. But you do have that little spice, that little spritz of just a heavy, harder hitting sound. And I think Love Explosion, for the name, it fits really well.
It explodes.
It just has little explosions of love and little explosions of harder hitting music that you will love.
Its main goal is to blow up
and then act like it don't know nobody.
Okay, I just had my lung explode.
Yeah, love explosions.
Lung explosion.
Now, it's getting pretty late in the year, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
It's already October, and we only got 2 more months until the next year comes around, 2020. Now, I just dated the video, but that's okay. Now, you know what happens after November, after you get big and nice and fat? You get the cold. Now, personally, I like the cold, but a lot of people don't like the cold. So you know what they do instead? Instead of going outside in the cold, they will go inside in their house and cuddle up and snuggle up. And they will get nice and warm in their house, nice and toasty. Mm-hmm. And December is the month for that. And December is the song for that month. And December is a very nice song. It is unlike certain other albums where you have Only in Dreams for Blue Album. It hits very similar, I gotta say. But a lot of the early Weezer albums do that. They will start hitting hard with their first with their first track, right? But then at the very last track, to add a little capstone to the song, they will actually hit you with something really soft or very comfortable.
Right.
And it fits a lot, where you have Blue and you have Only in Dreams, and you have Pinkerton with Butterfly, and then you have Green Album with Oh Girlfriend. It does not match the rest of it entirely, but it matches enough, and it is comfy enough to listen to that it's fine by itself. And to combine the melody of the music with the lyrics created by Rivers for December, it makes a very nice connection. Personally, when I listen to the song, I almost always imagine like being inside of a nice log cabin with like a nice roaring fire in front of you, thinking of December.
Dang.
You know?
I wish I could follow up that well, but all I can really say is that the song's
Is
good
it
without.
fun?
Of course, it's fun. It's fun, guys. Hey, guys, it's fun.
Uh-oh. I think you might have killed a couple of people playing the drinking game now.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. They had fun.
They had. And now we killed off the survivors.
Yep, there we go. Okay, so unlike what we did with Blue and Pinkerton, where we said why the songs or why the albums overall were important, Green and Maladroit aren't quite the same. They aren't important because it kickstarted everything, but it is important in a different way. Both Green and Maladroit, I didn't say it in Green because it fits with Maladroit a lot better. Green and Maladroit both are albums that hook together and will stick together because of the fact of what they are. They are fun songs. They are fun albums. And, Maladroit really and Green really fit together really well because they are fun albums. You are nice to listen to, and it almost sounds like Weezer was having fun when they were making the songs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they're not important because they were important songs or because it started everything, but they're important because they're fun, and having fun is important. It really is.
Right. So now we have made it to the end game, gents.
Yep.
The favorites and least favorites are going to be put on display right now
Uh-oh, for everyone to see?
for everyone to see.
Uh-oh.
And since we've had such a fun time, I think we're going to start it out fun with talking about our favorites.
Okay. Well, I think I'll go first this time.
Okay.
So, my favorite is probably a little obvious now. Can you guess?
Oh, what one was it?
It is-
Stroke, maybe?
Nope. My favorite on Maladroit has to be Slave.
Oh, crap. You flipped the script on me.
Yeah.
I was going to guess December.
Well, you see, Slave is nice to listen to, but there's one better.
Mike,
There's one song better than Slave.
that's insane.
Haha, double flipped. So, my true favorite song on Maladroit is actually Slob.
Oh,
Slob
okay.
because it hits hard and it knows what it's doing, and it's very fun to listen to, and I will look it up just to listen to it. Just like trying to listen and look up 367. 367 and Slob are very fun songs, and they're enjoyable to listen to, and that's it. That's all I can say. It's fun to listen to, it's nice, and it hits hard with its rock, and it hits hard with it it hits hard with it knows what it's doing.
Right. All right. And now that Mark's gone and blabbed about his favorite, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring.
No.
My favorite song from Maladroit is Space Rock. And it's really not for any complex reason, just the fact that I like the sound of it, and that's pretty much the main point of it. Because supposedly, it was meant to be just an instrumental with no lyrics at all. And I can completely understand that, because this song is shreds. It's very good, and it's not too long. It's barely even makes 2 minutes. So it's a quick song to just listen to, get out of the way, and be satisfied with your listening experience. And that's why it is my favorite.
Yeah. I gotta say, you're pretty on the nose with that. It is a very enjoyable music for music's sake song.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
All right. Now we got to trash on songs we
Yep.
like.
Now it's the time where everyone's gonna get their pitchforks and torches out and gonna go and get us.
Possibly.
Yep. So, here's the deal. Now, I know up to this point we have given every album a bad song. Well,
Right.
or the least best song.
Right.
And this is no different. However, here's the thing. The thing is, all the songs on Maladroit I think are good.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least equally good to a point. And so when you have to make one not as good or put it on the bottom of the totem pole, it feels bad. It feels bad, man.
Feels bad,
But,
man.
You know, some are just not as strong as others, and when you listen to it, you can kind of hear it. So I gotta say, my least favorite on the entire Maladroit is probably Love Explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I say that mainly because if I think of all the songs from Maladroit, I can remember them all easily just from the name alone. Now, Love Explosion is one that I can remember not because of the name, but because of the song itself, because of the music it has along with it. It has a very specific sound to it. And whenever I hear Love Explosion, I kind of think of, you remember the Powerpuff Girls? You know, the very ending of that, where you have like the picture of all the Powerpuff Girls, and then there's a whole bunch of hearts that keep repeating on the screen. It kind of has just that heart, just continually repeating kind of feel to it. You can definitely tell where it's coming from when it comes to emotional, and it's a very interesting song. However, I don't think it is as good as its second place cousin, which is Fall Together. And Fall Together, I think, is just that much better, and it has that much more punk rock into it that you can really jam out, and it makes it so Love Explosion's the worst.
Yeah.
The worst of the best.
I could see that. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's always hard to do this one. This is always the one that takes me forever to do. It makes me cry every time. You gotta take a song out to the field and you gotta put it down for the sake of everyone else.
It's got rabies.
Mm-hmm. You can't have Old Yeller biting people. So, the song I'm gonna have to take out to the fields and put down today is gonna have to be Dope Nose. So, now, I definitely do like Dope Nose. I pretty much like all the songs, but none of the songs really have a part that I dislike aside from Dope Nose. Since it's got that that really breaks up the flow. Yeah. I don't think it helps the song any, and I would have preferred it just stayed out, and that's mainly my reason I'm putting it at the bottom. Solid song, but since it's the only thing with something I don't like in it, it's just got to be the one I'm put at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. I can get where you're coming from. Dope Nose can be a very make it or break it song. It is a good bit repetitive with a good bit of that more, not sweet Weezer, but it has that punky, funny Weezer that you can see come up in every so often. Similar to like Summer Lane and Drunk Dory. It has that weird connection that makes all those songs the same, even though they're so much different. And they're just not the best because of it.
Right.
And,
We have reached Final Destination.
uh-oh.
No, we've reached the scoring points.
Yes. So, on this time of every single episode, we have where we are going to both give our scores 1 to 10 on the album overall.
Ooh, here we go.
So, this time I think I'm going to allow you to start.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's look here. I got a paper here that says all the scores. Because when I do these first few albums, because I like them, so I got to place them relative to each other pretty much. So if I like one a tiny bit more than the other, I just lower it by a slight bit. So I don't think Maladroit is really in the same ball game as Blue or Pinkerton. So therefore, I'm going to place it in relation to Green, how most people would probably choose to put it. So when I would be sitting around deciding which one I'd rather listen to, it would slightly be more leaning into Green. Therefore, I'm going to be putting Maladroit at an 8 out of 10.
So you're going to put it at an 8 out of 10?
Yes.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, boys, but I gotta put it at 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
9 out of 10. I gotta say, all the songs on here are pretty much all bangers, and they're all good to listen to. And you know what? Overall, that 8 and 9 out of 10 will come together and fall together and become a nice, delicious 8.5 out of 10.
Delicious, delectable score. Very
But here's
proud.
the question: what are we rating it out of? I'm giving it 9 Maladroit lamps out of 10.
And I shall be rating it 8 burnt jams out of 10.
Burnt jam.
Mm-hmm. A solid 8.5 burnt jams out of 10 Maladroit lamps. Don't store your burnt jam in lamps, people. This is purely a do not try at home thing.
Well, unless you like put them in jars and then put it into the body of the lamp, because then there's a good place to hide it.
Don't use it as a light bulb.
I'm using it as a place to hide my burnt jams.
My burnt jams.
No one else can have them.
So, that's all we got for this one.
Yep.
Fun times were had by all. We will be seeing you gents next week when we review what we're reviewing.
Okay. Now, here is a little thing where I like to call an executive decision, where we have two options at this point. Here we are at a crossroads.
Yes.
We can continue in chronological order with things that have come out, or we can split off to chronological order of things that would have come out.
Right.
And I think we're going to go with would have come out. So see us next week when we will review, personally, my favorite album, Weezer's Homecoming album.
I'm excited. I haven't really listened to this one before, so
I'm excited. I have listened to this before.
I'm interested to give it a listen, and I hope you all listen to it as well, so you can be ready for it next week or whenever we review it.
Now, if you like the show, give it a like. If you like us, subscribe to the channel. If you want to hear more, ring that notification bell so you can make sure you know when we're posting our next episode.
Exactly.
And I gotta say, you like it or do you hate it? What would you rate it? Tell us what you would rate Maladroit, the album.
Exactly.
And be sure to meet us here next week for Homecoming.
Have a good day, gents.
Yep.